All right, welcome to Ammertime podcast number
Three?
Episode
episode
3.2.
3.2. I'm Kristoffer, and I'm here with Jonas and Henry, and we're going to be talking about the game that they had earlier in with the 1200 point armies from the team tournament, Gentlemen and Dolls, coming up in January.
You know what? Maybe we should say something about where we are.
Oh yeah,
That's relevant.
We are right now at the Rouge Trader Club located in Frederiksberg, Copenhagen, which is a gaming club run by a guy called Sonny. And it's his club. It's a very nice club. It has room for 5 gaming tables, and it has just as much room for gaming as it does for hobby activities. Some of the very best painters in Denmark are actually members of this club, and I have seen amazing sculpting work done.
Including Thomas, who was just on. He's here every day, I think.
These are people who could have easily had a job back in the old days before the digitalization of GW. These guys could easily have had jobs, and some of them actually has had jobs there as sculptors and painters and whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah, just coming walking around here. It's really hobby related. There's paints everywhere and people making models and gluing and everything. And just being here, you kind of feel like I'm gonna breathe in the air and be a better painter or something.
And you get inspiration for your own
Yeah.
painting and your own armies, and I really like it.
Yeah, so we came down here today to check it out, didn't we? And
Yes.
Jonas and I played a game just to test out the tournament pack. Yeah, it's a really cool place. And the Mos Eisley table, it looks really awesome.
Sonny is an amazing. He is a goldsmith by trade actually, and he is extremely good at both making terrain and painting miniatures. He is a commission worker, so there's this whole place is filled with a lot of stuff that you can't buy anywhere because he's made it himself.
Nice.
Also, including the miniatures.
Nice. So we had a game today, and it was 1200 points, 1200 point games in.
With a single scenario. We covered it in the previous part,
Yeah.
so you should know what it is if you've been listening this far.
So Henry, would you like to go over your list?
Yeah, so my list, I was playing my high elves. I had 2 level 2 mages, going for zap zap zap. One was on heavens with 3 spells. That was my magic item, my only magic item, because they only allowed 50 points, and that was the only one I needed, I figured. And the other one was just a level 2 mage in his pants, high magic.
I've never heard the phrase in his pants before.
It's just like when you if you don't have any other equipment.
It's like naked.
Yeah, naked. It's in his pants.
We always say naked.
So so level 3, level 2 with an extra spell on heavens, and he got Ice Shard Blizzard or Blizzard, which is the same as before. I got the Thunderbolt, D6 Strength 6. And the one where you can choose to reroll your armor saves, hits, and wounds, which was really quite a good spell. And then the High Wizard, he had Soul Quench, or whatever the magic missile is, 2d6/3d6 strength 4. And then the one that heals a wound and gives +1 strength is boosted. That were my characters. I only allowed 300 points, so I just didn't bother with a BSB, didn't bother with a general, just fuck it, go for magic, try and zap some people off the board, and it was quite effective, actually. But we'll get to that. In my core, I had 20 spearmen with heavy armor. I don't really know why. They're a bit shit. They were Coastal Guard before, but then I realised that with the restrictions, because I didn't read them, they're in Danish, and I was like, oh, fuck it. I wasn't allowed that many shooting models, so I converted them to spearmen just before the game.
For the rules pack, you're only allowed to have 1/3 of your models actually equipped with shooting weapons of any kind.
Yeah, and I didn't really have enough. I pretty much my whole army was shooting actually. Then I had 5 reavers with natural armor and bows. That's pretty much my core. 15 sword masters full command, a lion chariot, 5 knights of the dragon realm, and 10 queens guard. These are the new ones. Queen's Guard of Skirmish. Did I have anything else? I think that was about it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, that's my list. Really, I think it's quite a good list for the restrictions. The Dragon Realm Knights are quite good, but they didn't do very well today.
Kind of flocked today. But
They failed the fear test and didn't do anything.
But it was a very shooty list, even though you didn't bring 1/3 of it.
Yeah, I had 15 shots.
Yeah, but with all the magic missiles, you kind of had to continuously output. And I had a lot of skirmishes, so the magic missile wrecked.
Yeah, so maybe you want to say your list, Jonas?
Yeah, on heroes, I had the new fighting hero on Bonebreaker.
Is he like a special kind of hero, or is he just a warlord or chieftain or?
In the new Vermin Swarm, there is themed characters in hero, and he's the one from the clan Mold. What you call it?
It's the old clan Molder. Is it still called Molder?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever it's called.
But he was on a Bonebreaker.
Fluff gamer.
and he was mounted on a Bonebreaker with a halberd. And with a light armor, so he
and his pants.
And his pants.
And his pants. So he had 4 wounds and only armor 6+.
Yeah, 4+4, toughness 4.
And toughness 4 though. Yeah. And then I had the Grey Princess, I think it's called, with the Pathmaster item.
So that's basically a level 2 Greyseer.
Yeah, level 2 Greyseer, and he was on Ruin.
What spells did you have?
I had the Death Frenzy spell, and the Belt's Toll, the one that does toxic attacks to every moddy in the opponent's unit.
Yeah, so that's you cast it on a unit and everyone takes a strength 3 hit.
Yeah, with no
armor
saves.
Yeah. So that was
nice.
Nice for against the elves anyway.
Yeah, but then in my core I had 31. Storm Vermin with full command, and a unit of 10 front runners with poison and throwing weapons.
So they have Vanguard just normally, or do you have to pay for it?
They have Vanguard.
Okay, cool.
They don't have any save though.
No.
So in my special, I had the Gutter Runners, which is basically the same as the front runners, with poison attacks and ambushing. And I had a Doom Wheel in rare, along with a cannon, and 6 Globadiers. So the point of my list was, I had the idea was that this is a list I'm going to play with Henry, and I was kind of hoping that I could use his BSB as my BSB. But then we got here and it was a singles game, and I just got fucked because my leadership I couldn't reroll, and as a Skaven, if you can't reroll your leadership, you're going to get fucked.
You had a lot of leadership 7 tests that you failed.
Yeah. So basically, at the end of the day, most of my army just ran off the board. But that's how it is when you play Skaven. But the idea was to have a big combo block with the Dead Frenzy spell from the Law of Ruin. So I run in 5 wide and 7 or 8 deep, and then I hope I don't lose combat too hard, and then I reform into Horde formation and cast Death Frenzy.
And then get loads and loads of Shred 4 attacks.
Yeah, then so my Stormvermin will get like a shit ton of attacks.
And you can choose that spell. You know you're going to get that spell because
exactly.
You can choose it.
Yeah, and if I expect that I'm going in a deep formation, I can go with the 5 on the Ruin, which allows every model in the unit to hit support attacks.
I think that's quite good.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
But it goes on I think it's 14 instead of a 9.
So harder to cast.
Yeah, especially since I only have a level 2.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so that was one combo I had, and then of course the Doom Wheel with the 2 swarms, just to make sure that Doom Wheel can do its thing and keep shooting.
It definitely did its thing this
game. This game it was amazing. Again, I don't know why people are complaining on the forums, because I really feel like
so strong.
The Doom Wheel is really always doing what it's supposed to do.
You killed the Lion Chariot, you killed the Spearman, you killed the Dragon Princes. I think was that everything?
Like the only thing I killed
points. I think actually the Doom Wheel did all your victory points.
Yeah, I don't think anything else kills anything.
Yeah.
Not even the cannon. It kind of flocked.
Yeah, the cannon. The one time it actually was going to kill something, it rolled a 1.
Yeah. So.
No, it's very interesting for me having written the restrictions. It's very interesting for me to listen to your list, and from the way that I designed the restrictions, it's also worth noting that you actually can't, in between the armies, use each other's inspiring presence and hold your ground. And you also can't confer special rules. The only thing you can actually the only way you can actually aid your allies' units is by casting spells on them.
Can you help with the aided dispel and aided casting?
No, neither of those. So you kind of have to make up for
double level 2.
So obviously in small points shooting is always very effective, as Jonas demonstrated. But shooting by skirmishers is easily countered by, say, something with soul quench or like a fire mage. So that kind of balances out. And with also a general restriction on shooting, close combat gets a bit of a buff, and so that's why we introduced a cap of 250 points on any unit max, so that you don't have these very large units. And since we actually wanted to see real armies, we introduced a cap on magic items for 50 points.
I like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. But it forces everyone to bring more stuff to the table. And like it or not, that actually means that you will see armies that consist of more than just a couple of units and a war machine.
Me as a Skaven player, I have to complain a little bit because I can't have mounted characters. I don't have these elf characters mounted on a barded warhorse, just running across the table with 1+ armor save. So if I'm not allowed to have that many magic items, I have really hard time both penetrating a high amount of armor and getting high amounts of armor for myself.
Yes, and that's inherently a vermin swarm or Skaven problem. That they have trouble dealing with armor and they have limited access to armor themselves.
Yeah, my problem with writing my vampire council list was that I really want to protect my general, and I wanted to play with vampire. So I was thinking, okay, put him on a horse, give him a 1+ armor save, and give him a magic item that gives him protection.
Right.
But then I don't have enough points to give him like a bloodline power, and I don't have enough points to give him like a magical boost for my spells.
And then that's the thing, because that for me that really shows that when you're making your list, you're still thinking in the regular sense, in the sense that when you lose something, you give away victory points to your opponent. Now this is true, but with this format, you only gain victory points depending on how much you actually kill. So in a sense, defending or tanking your characters is not as important. It's actually more important.
Well, when you're playing with vampire counts and your character dies, then all your
it's always bad to lose your general as a vampire count player. But at the same time, you still have access to put him on a horse if you want to do that.
Yeah.
And for 5 points, he can have a hardened shield. That gives him a 1+ save right there if you want it. So it's not impossible.
Yeah, that's a very nice option. I would really like to have that as well.
you can in turn put your character on a bone breaker, which
so you can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he also gets toughness 5. Right?
No, toughness 4.
He gets toughness 4 and 4, so he gets an extra wound and an extra.
But he only has a 6+ armor save.
Yeah.
You can give him a shield.
Yeah, I can give him shield.
So you can give him a hardened shield, and that would make him 4+ armor save.
Yeah.
If you felt like it, or you could just give him the 4+ regen from the book and spend your 50 points there.
Yeah,
but then you don't have the combo with the death frenzy.
No, that's
what the list was built around.
That's true. But the thing is,
I think you're going to go for something different. I hope.
And you still, but that's the thing. It's a team tournament. There's only going to be one singles game, so that means that when you are designing a list, you know you're going to be a team and you know the scenarios in advance. So building a list is going to have to be a list that's a bit all round. So maybe Jonas is struggling with armor. That means that you should probably bring something that's able to deal with armor. Swordmasters, wide lines, something like that.
Awesome today. Yeah. So just before we go into the game, Jonas, how are you going to change your list after today's game?
I think I'm going to change a bit in my characters. First of all, I will rethink the Bonebreaker character. He does a lot of damage, but he's very squishy as well. And today he was fighting
weapon skill 6
Swordmasters, which was faster than him. So he kind of got killed off by the Swordmasters and a chariot charging in. So either I need to move away from that character, or I need to get better matchups for him.
Yeah.
Or else I was.
Are you going to stay with the Storm Vermin, or are you going to go back to your usual Plague Monk block?
For now I'll stick to the Storm Vermin because I still think they're a very strong pick, and especially since I have little other choice in handling high amounts of armor. So I need the Storm Vermin because they're strength 4.
Yeah.
Sadly, I can't give them the Razor standards, which would make them
Much
more
better.
usable against armor, but yeah, I have to play around that and just hope that my Doom Wheel and my Cannon and my Cloverdeers can do the work. And of course, the Bell's Toll,
if you pick that spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, if I was going with the same list, I'd probably put some banners in my units. My dragon riders could do with a banner, and then they can be a scoring unit for the tournament points.
A lot of the tournament scenarios is based on grabbing different kinds of objectives. So scoring units are important to bring along as well. Yeah. So that it's definitely important not just to have the one scoring unit between your armies anyway.
Yeah, and I think if I was another change I might make is trying to fit a channeling staff in on my other wizard, because then I'm channeling for dispel on a. So I get +1 for being a high elf, and I get +1 for. I was channeling on a 4+. +1 for being a high elf, +1 for an extra level 1, and then 1 for having a caster. So I would actually be channeling on a 3+ for dispel and a 4+ for power dice.
Yeah.
And that could be my over 25 points. And I think that would be quite a good combo. I don't think I would change anything else. The high magic is really good because both the wizards sit in the Queen's Guard, and if I cast a high magic spell, then I can get an extra ballistic skill for my archers.
Yeah.
And the Heavens one is quite zappy as well with the D6. I think I got some good spells luckily today, and you can always get the Soul Quench because it's signature.
But in Heavens there's a lot of magic missiles anyways.
Yeah, there's the Comet and the Chain Lightning and
the regular lightning.
Yeah, I rolled Wind Blast, and I think it could be quite good in some matchups.
I think it's hard to use with the only 18-inch range.
Yeah.
On Wind Blast.
Can you boost it? I don't know.
No, it's set in the 18-inch range.
A problem I had today, I didn't have any magic missiles. I was considering picking the Black Lightning just for having an increased range. But I went with the Bell's Toll because I was playing against elves. And he had heavy armor elves as well. But Bell's Toll only has 18 range. So that becomes a problem when your opponent has a lot of 24-inch range magic missiles. So I kind of got outranged, giving me a lot of problems, forcing me to move very close to the Swordmasters, and that's not a way to go.
Yeah, so we should go over our game today.
Yeah.
So Jonas got the first turn. He kind of moved his army up. I sat back, and your first turn was quite uneventful. Your cannon didn't. You rolled a 1 to wound the chariot.
Yeah.
Took a few models off maybe here and there. Then I moved up to counter him, and you had the Doom Wheel in like a really good position, which kind of stopped me moving up too far on one side. So I was quite conservative on one side, and then the other side I pushed up to get the objective, my objective, and then you charged my Swordmasters.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake. I shouldn't have charged him. I was hoping that my character, the one on the Bromebreaker, would be able to kind of do a lot of damage. So I had the opportunity to move out in my wide formation the turn after, but it just didn't happen. You picked the distraction rule, so I hit you on 5s, of course wounding on 2s. So I just got polarized completely in close combat. I think first round of combat I lost 9.
9 and one wound on the Lord from the champion in the challenge.
Yeah, and then the second turn I lost 12.
12, yeah.
Stormwomen, and
hitting on 3s. I missed 1. Something like that with 14 attacks.
It was a massacre.
Yeah.
So definitely not going to do that again.
The Stormwomen got splattered. It was quite funny. I think you killed about 4 off from shooting.
Yeah, and I killed like 2 or 3 in close combat. I didn't do anything.
I think over 2 rounds of combat you killed 2 Swordmasters. Yeah. I mean I can roll 6s like a boss apparently.
So I think if I would play the game again, I would use the swarms. I had them running alongside my Stormwomen. I would use the swarms to chaff you up, to just get an extra 1 or 2 turns to get the Bell's Toll off on your unit, killing off half of your unit. Then I should be able to take the fight, and perhaps with my gutter runners coming in from the flank. I don't know, but I should have done that instead. But now I know.
Any highlights for you?
My Doom Wheel.
Oh, the Doom Wheel.
It was insane.
It was rolling all over.
Yeah, it was like killing everything, and it survived with 1 wound in the end.
Yeah.
And killed off like 600 points or something like that. It was amazing. I'm definitely running that for the tournament. How about you, Henry? Any highlights?
There's a few. The wizards, like, I think 2 turns in a row or 3 turns. There was definitely 2 turns where I zapped one unit with a magic missile. I killed enough to panic it, and they fell off the board, and then panicked another unit, which panicked another unit, and then everything rallied, and I did it again, and they all ran away again. It's like 3 spells: zap lightning, zap soul quench, and everything just runs away.
And especially with this scenario where we have a
really narrow table.
Yeah, it's so risky when you flee, because there's a very high chance that you will run off the table. So I'm going to need to have a BSB, but of course I'm scaling. I need BSBs, or else I will just.
I think you
lose
definitely
games.
Age-old truth.
I think a low light for me was charging 3 Knights of the Dragon Realm into the rear of the Doom Wheel. I did 1 wound because I failed my fear test on a 9, and I forgot that I had the martial discipline or whatever. I rolled a 10, failed my fear test, hitting on 5s, and I did 1 wound, and it had 2 left. It just had 2 left.
Yeah.
I even did 2 hits. I just couldn't roll 2 4+.
And then the Doom Wheel just started grinding you down.
And the Doom Wheel killed them all.
Yeah.
It's like Dragon Knight's coming up behind me. Can you get off of me? Can you get off of me?
It's like reverse. Yeah, the game ended. I won because of the victory points of the scenario. Jonas actually killed more than I did, by about 200 points, maybe 300 points. But I'd sat there on Jonas's objective with the remnants of my swordmasters,
gaining 200 victory points every turn.
Every turn for 3 turns, which was 600 points in total. And we were discussing after the game that we think maybe you're going to change that to 150 victory points to make it a bit fairer.
And another thing we discussed about the scenario is that we used the 2d6 standard rules for Magic, giving Henry a very he had 5 spells. I had 2, so he had a very good advantage there.
Yeah.
That's why I was zapping everything.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a hole in the rule for that scenario only. So we are going to change that to Magic being 2d3 plus 1.
Yeah, and that 2d3 plus 1. Let me think. So that's maximum 7, between 7 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you get the highest 2d3 for Dispeller.
Yes.
Okay, that's reasonable.
So that
just for that scenario, right?
Just for that scenario, just to make sure that because as always, shooting and magic missile, things that pick off models, in the lower points you get, the more effective it's going to be.
Yeah.
So
we want to reduce the impact that has.
Fair enough. Is there anything else that you want to talk about from the game today?
No, I think I covered most of it. How about you?
Yeah, me too. Things that I really liked today, the sisters, like I said, the combo with the wizards, like you can give them an extra ballistic skill.
I would like to point out that I noticed that you guys were actually having a lot of fun with it, and that I think that's based on the dynamic is that it's not that important when you lose stuff. Yeah. It's not. Oh fuck my unit! I paid so many points for that. It's like nah, whatever.
Well, when the Dragon Princess charged into the rear of the Doom Wheel, I was pretty.
Yeah, but that's
pissed off.
Obviously, things get emotional. but it seems to me like from when we usually play, we're always lighthearted when we play, but we are very focused when we play. This was more of obviously this was also a test, but for me it's very indicative that we are actually reaching our goals with what we want to do with the tournament.
Yeah, well, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know I'm a diehard Celador player. And when my Dragon Prince is dying, I get really annoyed. The Spearmen I don't care about; they always die. But the Dragon Prince is more closer to my heart.
I still have. I should probably maybe we can do that in the next segment. Talk about the Bretonnian God Boss.
That could be the next segment. I've got time. So yeah, we're gonna have a break now.